Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the CBL X's and O's podcast for season 2023. We previewed round 14 as being epic, Beck, and the results that have come through post the weekend have shown it was another epic round of basketball in the Southwest Conference.
Absolutely. We've kind of been waiting for this weekend all season, haven't we? And we've predicted that it was going to go right down to the line. And wow, we had some pretty amazing weekends, games over the weekend. And then, yeah, to see where we ended up, I'm not sure if, many people would have predicted that, but very, very exciting.
That's it. It all come down to Sunday, and there was a couple of games that finalised our ladder, which showed how close the competition was. So let's start Saturday in the men when Portland hosted Terang, and Portland really put on their defensive skill, holding Terang to 61 points to ensure they got the win and locked themselves into the finals position.
Absolutely. It looks like Portland were trying to make a statement, I think. And as you know, teams have struggled against Terang and their three-point shooting abilities. So I'd say Coach Hayden has 100%, got himself in a position where he has done some research. They've had some game plans around fixing up some of those, those three-point shooters and come out and made a big statement with a 36-point win. Like that's a really, really big win over Terang at this point of the year because, as we said, Terang have been the informed team coming into the finals and just really unlucky to miss out.
They certainly are. And Ararat took on Millicent and they ran out 20-point victors on Saturday, which put the first cross, I guess, for Millicent and made it a lot tougher for them to get a finals position.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it's hard to believe. I was, fortunate to see a couple of these games over the weekend, and I tell you what, it's a testament to the league because it has been super close. And on any given day, any team is capable of winning, and we've seen that this weekend.
Colac took on Mount Gambier, and it looked like Mount Gambier travelled with a stronger team than probably what we normally see them travel with to a degree, and they made sure they got over the line against the towards the bottom of the table Cookers, but it was a closer game than probably we expected here.
Yeah, look, I think it definitely probably would have been a bit closer than they expected, but yeah, Mount Gambier looked like they had their full squad, so they were pretty serious about keeping their top spot and looking like they could finish where they wanted to on the ladder. So, but as we've said again, like any team on any given day, if they play well, is capable, and especially with the whole season under their belts now, it kind of seems probably not always for everyone sad that the CBL season is small because when you start to get into that kind of 3 months, the teams really start to gel and start to play really good basketball. So, yeah, it looks like, yeah, it was a very close game.
And Warrnambool travelled to take on Horsham at the Nest, and we said in the preview that Warrnambool needed to keep winning games to give themselves the best opportunity of making finals, and they really took it to the Hornets. They went down by 2 points in the end, unfortunately, but they've put on a pretty good showing in the last few rounds to potentially make the finals.
Oh, yeah. Look, I was fortunate enough to have a prime seat for this game because I was the head scorer and Warrnambool played fantastic. It was actually just a really, really good, highly contested game of basketball. And some of their players were just excellent. Like Riley Nicholson, he played exceptionally well. Dominic, he was great. Adam Lawson, they all had consistent games. We found it really quite hard at certain points to be able to stop their run on. They defended our shooters, our play really well. In the end of those tight games, as we know, the Hornets' nest gets a bit loud, gets a bit up and about. So generally, that'll be the difference that can get us over the line because we always have such a big crowd. So we had some really great games from Captain Mitch Martin, Ozzie McKenzie, Cody Bryan, our top ones. Maddie Love will come off the bench and provided some really good experience, especially in those tighter points when it was goal for goal. And, literally what's going to happen, timeout, draw up a play. Let's see if we can get it. It was awesome. It was a really good game to watch. But yeah, Warrnambool just unluckily missed out in the end.
And then Sunday, Mount Gambier pulled into Terang on their way home from Colac and were able to go into Terang and get the win, which locks them into the top position of the ladder. They're the team that everyone wants to beat, the reigning champions.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we all know that how much Mount Gambier and SA teams like to win the Victorian competition. So they're going to come out fighting now. I'm not sure if Birkenfield played on Sunday. I have to have a look at that, but it looks like he was a noticeable absence for them over the weekend. He's such a exceptional part of their team, and he consistently shoots so many points for them. So I'm pretty sure that they'll be back to their best this coming up to the finals in a couple of weeks. And it's going to be a pretty epic finals season, I think, especially with those 4 teams that we've got in there now. Depending on nothing finishing over the weekend, but yeah, Millicent, unfortunate just to drop out there. But yeah, Mount Gambier have proven now they're on top of the ladder, minor champions, and the team to beat.
And Sunday, Portland travelled up to Ararat to take on the Redbacks, and unfortunately, the Redbacks couldn't make it 2 from 2 when they come up against the Coasters, going down by, that's 11 points. Nathan Hardingham, 28 points. He's had a standout weekend, shooting 28 Sunday. I think it was 29 on Saturday night. So, he's hitting his straps at the right end of the season, as we mentioned last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Portland are a good team, and I can only talk from obviously watching them beat Horsham twice this season. So they are definitely they're consistent. They look like they're really starting to step it up another level coming into the finals. So I think our maybe just coming off a bit of a high of that win on Saturday night. They weren't expecting that, but they've still got a game or 2 this weekend. But yeah, they are unlucky to probably lose by that much, but it looks like Portland, they were ready to go. They knew they had to win 2. We talked about that in the preview last week. And not only did they win 2, but they made statements and made sure that they were winning them.
And then Austin McKenzie of the Horsham Hornets shot 35 to put the dagger into the Millicent Magic, going down by 2 points they did, which the 2 losses on the weekend sees them miss out on a top 4 finals position in a head-to-head battle with Warrnambool. It's just unfortunate for the Magic. They've been pretty good all season.
Yeah, and we always talked about, haven't we, all season, how the head-to-heads are going to make a difference. And, I think sometimes not always are you thinking about that in the time, but it's been a really big, a big part of this season. And even in the women's we'll look at shortly, it was the same thing. So it absolutely makes a difference if you've got head-to-head. So, look, Aussie was outstanding, obviously 35 points, half of Horsham's score, but it was actually our veteran, Damien Scurry, who got the 2 points on the last second, like literally the last second to win the game. Like he just got a rebound, popped it up, and it went back in. It was an amazing shot. So, they missed their captain, Mitch Martin, did his ankle. So shout out to him. Mitchy, I hope it's all good and you can come back for finals in a week or so. So, he was out halfway through the second, I think. So that was a big absence for them because he is one of their, most strongest players. But yeah, unfortunate for Millicent. It was, again, a ripping day, ripping crowd, ripping game. So, it's always hard to lose by 2 points on the buzzer. But unfortunately for Millicent, it did, put them out of the finals.
Let's have a quick look at the ladder. We've got Mount Gambier and Horsham sitting first and second with 13 and 3 records. And as we mentioned, Mount Gambier had the head-to-head against Horsham, which sees them finish on top of the ladder. We've then got Portland in third, 11 and 5. Warrnambool fourth, 9 and 7. They sneak into a top 4 finals finish. Millicent fifth, 9 and 7. That was that head-to-head battle. And then we've got Terang 6 and 9, Colac 5 and 11, Ararat 3 and 11, and Hamilton is 1 and 14. So there's a couple of games next week, but unfortunately they won't have any effect on our top 4 ladder positions. So be interesting to sit down and preview what our semi-finals will be in 10 days time once we have our last round happen. Let's switch to the women. And Saturday night, Mount Gambier travelled down to Colac and got the victory to give themselves the best opportunity of making a top 4 finals series. They went down to Colac and won by 24 points. And Tennille Human shooting 24 points is obviously hitting her straps at the right end of the season for the Lakers.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you jump in and have a look at the leading scorers, she's right up there in the top 3. So she's been a consistent scorer for them every week. And she'll be someone that they'll, I'm pretty sure Warner will be looking at to make sure that they can shut down come finals time. It looks like Colac were missing Harmony, She's a big part of their team. She's been the other half of the duo with Indy Cameron. So she was probably at Albury, I think. So that might have affected potentially the Colac game, not having as much power to be able to score those points. But it looked like India Cameron had 19 again. Millie Sibley stepped up with 15. So, it's a really big congratulations to Colac on their first season back in the league. And, we're all proud of Troy and the association for what they've put on to get their teams back on. We know how hard it is to get women numbers especially, and for them to get through their first season and have some really, really good games and a win. It's as successful as what they probably would have hoped, but I think it's really successful for the league and hopeful for other teams that we can get this women's comp back up and try and get 8 or 9 teams like the men have.
Certainly is. And your Horsham Hornets took on the top of the table Warrnambool Mermaids on Saturday night, and you took it to the Mermaids, but unfortunately home crowd couldn't get you over the line in this one.
No, look, Warrnambool are a really good team, as we've talked about. They're well drilled, they're well coached. They've all played together for a very long time. They were missing Matilda Sewell. She's a big part of their team as well. She's a great player, and she's tall and athletic, and she, gets a lot of their rebounds and shoots, good 15, 20 points every week. So, that potentially might have helped us a little bit because we just don't have as much height there. So, yeah, but look, I mean, I was really impressed with Hannah O'Keefe. She stepped up. She's a young girl. I thought she played really well. She's a daughter of Katie O'Keefe, one of the Warrnambool superstars to come out of there. And look, Warrnambool is, they're always a great team to play. It's good because, they play good basketball. It's man to man. It's, it's strategic. It's great. It's awesome to be a part of. And look, I think we were 4 points down with a minute or a couple of minutes to go. So, I was pretty proud of our girls. We gave it a crack. And, if we can potentially get over our semi-final and maybe get another chance to have a crack at them in the grand final, who knows? We'll look forward to that. But yeah, it was a really, really well physically contested game.
And then Sunday, Horsham took on Millicent in what was going to be ladder-defying game. Winner got the finals position, and it was your team, the Horsham Hornets, who got over the line in overtime, might I add, by 4 points. It looked like it was an epic game of basketball, this one.
Yeah, look, I think it 100% was I was there. It's all a bit of a blur really when you get into those games. But yeah, could you have pictured it have to go into overtimes? We always talked about it was probably going to come down to this game. Whoever won it was going to get that final spot. So would I have picked it was going to go to overtime? Absolutely not. Luckily for us, Emma got 1 out of 2 in. If she had missed that, it would have been a different story. So talk about pressure, 1.9 seconds on the clock. You've got 2 foul shots down by 1. I mean, of every story that some kid tells themselves when they're out at 7-year-old shooting in the backyard. So credit to her. She was able to hold the pressure and get 1 to then allow us to hold into overtime. We did really well in the overtime. We probably got the first 4 or 6 points. And, I think we ended up with 2 fouled off. Millicent had 3 fouled off. We were in bonus with 7 minutes to go in the last quarter, both teams. So every time someone fouled after 7 minutes, it was shots. So, look, it was a great game to be a part of. Millicent played, really well. It could have been anyone's at any point. It was just fortunate for us, I think, that the crowd stepped up. It was also one of our veterans' 100th games. I think the girls dug deep for that because they just didn't want to miss it. They wanted Caitlin to have a win on her 100th game, and she was the first Lady Hornet to achieve that milestone. So there was a lot riding on it for us, not only a finals position, but obviously, that history for her. So every single one of my players dug deep. They gave everything they had. And even though we ended up with 2 fouled off, the bench stepped up and, we managed to get over the line and get that final spot. So, nothing to take away from Millicent though, because it could have easily been their game. And it was a really, really great game.
Well, that's it. Let's take the ladder and take a look at the ladder now. And the season's done. The regular season's done for our women's competition. They'll have a week off before we step into semi-finals, and Warrnambool finish on top with an 8-2 record. They've been a standout team this year, and really shown the competition that they're going to be the team to beat this year. Portland finished second, 7-3 record, locking in their home final. Third, Horsham, 5-5 record, same as Mount Gambier, who finished with a 5-5 record in fourth. Horsham obviously had the head-to-head with Mount Gambier, and as we mentioned, the head-to-heads were going to be important, and it's shown we've had 3 of them across the 2 ladders. Millicent finishing fifth, unfortunately, with that loss on the weekend, 4-5. And then, as mentioned, Colac has had a pretty good season coming back into the competition. They finished with a 1-9 record, but that record does not show how competitive they were this season. They had so many close games.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think we've talked about it all season long, but even though there is a little bit of difference with the win-loss ratio, most of these games have been lost or won by 10 points or less or more. So, the competition has been really, really close. And I think it's been one of the closest competitions I've been a part of for a long time, probably for 5 or 6 years. So every single time we took the court, we had to bring our best. And it made for great games. It made for spectators to be able to come and watch really good competition. And I think, if anything, every team should be proud of their effort. And we look forward to building it and continuing to make the Southwest CBL Women's Comp, right up there with all the rest.
That's it. That's our round 14 review in the Southwest Conference. And we'll jump on a call later this week to what we will preview round 15, which is just men's only this weekend, a couple of games. And then post this weekend, Australia Day weekend, I'm looking forward to jumping in and reviewing the round 15 games, but also previewing our upcoming semi-finals. So for everyone, let's stay tuned and we'll catch you later in the week.